My dad gave my mom a diamond necklace worth over $200,000. Instead, I immediately fastened it around the neck of my flamboyant classmate. Because in my previous life, 3 days after my mom put on that necklace, she became a completely different person. The way she looked at me turned cold and distant. She flew into rages over the smallest things. One day, I casually complained about her best friend, Vanessa Moore, and she slapped me hard across the face. Then, late one night, I passed my parents' bedroom on my way to the bathroom and overheard a conversation inside. That was when I learned the diamond necklace was cursed. It could swap my mother's soul with Vanessa's. I called the police immediately. Instead, they insisted I was mentally ill and forced me into a psychiatric hospital. I endured endless abuse and humiliation there. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my dad gave my mom the necklace. Cold sweat broke out across my back, and my fingertips trembled uncontrollably. The hellish scenes from my previous life came flooding back in an instant. Whenever the orderlies were in a bad mood, they would hit and curse at me without reason. They would lock me in a freezing, pitch-black isolation cell and leave me there for days. They forced bitter sedatives down my throat until I was dizzy, nauseated, and barely conscious. I cried and begged for mercy countless times, hoping my father would remember that I was his daughter and come take me home, away from that hell. But even until my death, I never received a shred of compassion from him. Richard lived comfortably off the fortune Vanessa stole from my mother's family. Meanwhile, Vanessa wore my mother's face and basked in wealth, admiration, and endless luxury. Just as my mother reached toward the jewelry box, I deliberately stumbled and swung my arm hard across the table. Crash! Half a cup of warm water splashed directly onto the jewelry box. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to. I pretended to panic, quickly grabbed some tissues, and began wiping it off. My father's expression darkened instantly. His eyes filled with impatience, and it was obvious he was about to lose his temper. My mother immediately stepped in front of me and spoke gently. It's all right. It's all right. Crystal must be exhausted from studying and simply got distracted. Don't blame her. She looked at me with concern, her eyes filled with the warmth and affection that had belonged to my mother before she was replaced. My real mother still stood before me, untouched and unchanged. The sight made my nose sting, and I nearly teared up. This was really my mother. I forced down the hatred and sorrow surging inside me and spoke as naturally as I could. Dad, Mom's hands are covered in sauce. It'd be a shame to get a necklace that expensive dirty. She can put it on after we finish eating. My father's gaze darkened as he stared at me. He was just about to object when his phone suddenly rang. He glanced at the caller ID and hurried off to the balcony to take the call. I took advantage of the opportunity and quickly hid the cursed necklace. When he returned after finishing the call, I smiled and spoke in an obedient tone. Dad, if you're busy, go ahead. I'll help Mom put it on later. My father looked hesitant, but he didn't dare make it too obvious. In the end, he could only nod. All right, take a photo and send it to me after she puts it on. With that, he hurried out the door. My mother was still sitting beside me, absent-mindedly placing pieces of crab onto my plate, completely unaware that anything was wrong. Mom, I need to tell you something important. My mother immediately noticed something was wrong and followed me into my bedroom. What is it, Crystal? What's happened? The moment I saw my mother standing there, safe and unharmed, all the fear and humiliation from my previous life came rushing back. Tears spilled down my face before I could stop them. Mom, Dad is trying to hurt you. That necklace is cursed. If you wear it, you'll switch bodies with Vanessa. You can't touch it. My mother's brows knitted together instantly. She was the CEO of a major corporation, a woman with sharp instincts and a clear mind. In truth, she had long suspected there was something inappropriate going on between my father and Vanessa. She only endured it all for my sake. Slow down. Tell me exactly what's going on. She gripped my hand tightly. I told her everything that happened in my previous life, leaving out nothing. When I finished, the shock on her face gradually gave way to a coldness that seemed to settle into her bones. Ice filled her eyes. After a long silence, she gently wiped away my tears. I was foolish. You've suffered because of me. I noticed there was something going on between them, but I never imagined they could be this vicious. A ruthless edge flashed across her eyes. Don't be afraid, Crystal. This time,